While street workers are battling for their rights to remain on the streets of Christchurch, with New Zealand First wanting the sex workers to be removed and placed inside. Here's Chelsea Daniels.
Well, there has been strong debate for a prostitution reform brought to Parliament by New Zealand First, aiming to get street workers off the streets.
What it's aimed to do is to make street prostitution illegal, and to restrict it to both brothels and home prostitution.
Dennis says that the danger that a street prostitute comes across every night is horrific.
I think safety is a very, very big issue. There is another issue, of course, as well, which is public nuisance. I think there are many people who live in the areas where street prostitutes tend to do their business, and they would tell you about some of the issues that arise in terms of nuisance.
The party aren't petitioning for sex workers to get out of the game altogether, just for the women to conduct their business in a more professional manner.
But it's also about appropriate ways of people carrying out this particular business activity. I mean, other businesses have to get premises and operate their businesses in them and can't do that on the street, so I don't see why that should be possible for the prostitution industry.
He says they're not being unreasonable, they just want tighter regulations on street workers.
I think it would be a step too far to try and outlaw prostitution altogether, and it would only mean driving it underground again, and there are huge disadvantages in doing that. As a minimum step, we can at least stop it happening on the street. There's no excuse for that at all.
But Anna Reid of the New Zealand Prostitutes Collective isn't convinced.
I think people that draft a bill like that really don't want to see prostitution happening at all. They know they can't do anything about it because it is decriminalised, so they're trying to go for the most vulnerable people, and no, it's a terrible bill.
She says that there was a huge step taken to decriminalise prostitution in New Zealand, and this would only be a step backwards.
By bringing in this bill, it would criminalise street-based workers and their clients, and we've worked very, very hard, particularly in Christchurch, to develop a good working relationship with the police and the sex industry and us, and that would just go back to nothing.
Anna says that she doubts the reform will change the amount of prostitutes on streets.
There will always be street-based workers. Even if they're outlawed, which I don't believe is going to happen, they'll always be there, and we want them to have the same protections that all other sex workers have.
Dennis says that he thinks the reform has got a good chance of being successful. However, it could take a while to get off the ground.
The private member's bill goes into a ballot, and it has to be drawn from the ballot, which could take quite a long time and may never be drawn. And then it would take a couple of months to actually be debated if it was drawn. So, for example, I had a bill which was in the ballot for 4 years before it got drawn, and it still hasn't been debated yet. So it does take quite a long time.
Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.